Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and I don't really have much of a video to do today, but I did realize that about a year and a half ago, Bruno got his grid expansion for the first ever Pokemon Masters Day. And it's insane to me that it's already been a year and a half since we started Pokemon Masters Day. Literally, that's like, what, 18? 18 different Pokemon Masters Days. That's crazy to me. At least it's around that number, but still. Whatever. Bruno here, obviously he's got his grid expansion, and whenever I'm looking at these 3-star and 4-star grid expansions for Pokemon Masters Day, I tend to, lower my expectations a bit, right? I tend to think, okay, how is this unit going to perform doing on-type damage? Or how are they going to be able to set themselves up? Or are they going to be able to be really good looking with a good support or something like that, right? I don't expect them to be able to, off-type, 10,000 damage or something, or like even anything remotely close to what these, units are putting out nowadays, right? These summonable units. I look at them and see how good can they do super effective damage, and when it comes to, strikers and techs, right? I think if a tech's utility is good, or they have a great nuke or something, then I'm going to see that as a W. Or if a striker has good damage and a solid nuke, then I'm going to say that's, pretty good, right? Bruno here, I think, qualifies under that. I think he definitely is pretty solid when it comes to doing damage here. He's a striker, of course. Bruno, he's a 4-star striker from the general pool, and I think they did something well when it came to developing his grid. So, Bruno's got a lot of different nodes here, but the current grid setup I have here is Crit Strike 2, which that's coming off of 120 base power Cross Chop. Karate Chop is worth nothing, literally nothing at all. Honestly, they should have just given him anything else, maybe like close combat or something for double fighting options, but 1 gauge spammable. Maybe if you run out of gauge or something and you need some gauge help, then maybe Karate Chop can do something for you until you get to your sync move or something like that, right? But his passive, being Critical Strike 2, is actually pretty good, because extra 20% power up to his sync moves and his normal moves, that's very, very good. And he has a 363 attack stat, which is not the greatest, of course, but for a 4-star unit, that's pretty solid, right? Or like, I know he's upgraded to 5 stars now, but still, for a base 4-star unit, that's pretty solid, right? And again, he's got Critical Strike 2 in the passive here, or in the grid as well, so he's got another 20% multiplier there. He's also got Smart Cookie on Cross Chop, and if you do the math, that is a 20% multiplier from Crit Strike 2, another 20% multiplier from Crit Strike 2, and a 30% multiplier from a fully maxed out Cross Chop. And he's got his lucky skills, which I gave him Acuity. Why the fuck did I give him Acuity? No. That's funny. What the? Why does he have Acuity? His accuracy cannot be lowered? Oh, I think I was using him for like a mission and they kept debuffing accuracy, so I had to swap out his lucky skill. Oops. I didn't even, I forgot to change it back, I guess, because I haven't used Bruno in a while, but his best lucky skill is Crit Strike 2, because he has a lot of Crit Strike 2, right? Or Super Power 3. That's definitely a viable one, because you're not going to be running him off-type. 363 base attack. With these multipliers, it's solid. I wouldn't say it's off-type solid, unless you're running another striker unit, which kind of just defeats the purpose of off-typing showcases, in my opinion. But Super Power to Crit Strike 2, whichever you prefer, right? That's very, very good for sure, and he's got good damage here. He's going to be doing great super effective damage for the most part, right? Requiring special defense debuffs isn't that bad either, because his trainer move buffs his special defense and attack, and he's got Dire Hit Plus. So he's got very self-sufficient stuff when it comes to actually being able to max his own stats, right? Being able to buff his attack and special defense to max with NPR, be able to max his crit at base. He's got Crit Strike 2 as a passive skill and as a lucky skill, and you can just start spamming Cross Chop, right? Very good base, and the grid just expands on that, right? And I really think that's good. I'm going to look at another grid here as well, which is, his nuking grid, which has Double Down 5 here, obviously super effective damage, that's pretty good as a multiplier, and Crit Strike 2 again, that's just the basic stuff, and then the sync nodes, of course, and Smart Cookie on Cross Chop. So it's more of a mixture of a dual, a sync nuke and DPS. This is actually full DPS and full nuke, but for his DPS grid, I also gave him super preparation, just because maybe you're using his trainer move to max his stats, you get a super preparation, your first Cross Chop can just slam right into the enemy and hit pretty hard, right? But first, we're going to actually look at his DPS build here. Other than that, actually, I don't think he has much that's really amazing. He's got Sync Freebie. Free Moves Next is definitely nice for sure, but nothing crazy. amped up, last dash. He doesn't use speed, so it doesn't really matter that much. Just bring a speed support. Pinpoint accuracy is good for sure because cross chop has 80% accuracy, but you also have the accuracy plus 10 node, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference. And that's about it, right? Nothing else too great other than his damaging nodes, which of course is really just what you're going to want from a striker anyway, so nothing too crazy. But we're going to take him against Glacia here. I do actually need to build up points. I forgot to build up point parameters, whoops. But we do also have infinite field effects here, so Cynthia's, fighting zone is not going to run out, which is great. If you have, Neo Champion Hop, he's obviously a great partner just for defense debuffs as well as fighting zone, being a little bit better there is right as well. So let's go ahead and do some of this stuff. Let's get some strength. He's going to be doing pretty good damage, so honestly, it doesn't really matter too much about giving them some HP up and whatnot. That we should be just fine anyway. I don't think I need stat reduction. Yeah, I don't need stat reduction. And let's go ahead and just keep giving them some of this stuff, right? And we should be good to go. Okay, I'll take out a little bit of strength here and pick up interference immunity and tech pairs taking damage. Because I'm actually running a dual striker setup here, because I do want to be able to max his stats. Cynthia's able to buff his crit and his special defense. His special defense able to be maxed by +6 in fighting zone, so of course that's great. And Lieutenant Searcher can buff his attack and his crit. And then Bruno can just, start spamming out those cross chops, right? And they can be hitting for pretty solid damage. So I'm going to actually probably use Bruno's Trainer move once, just maybe get the super effective next in. And then we'll probably start, using our moves, right? So, and I also want to have max attack, of course, so there's that as well. Aura Cynthia here, of course, able to apply crit buffs with her Vacuum Wave, which is very, very nice. And we got our super effective next, which is actually really, really good there as well. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Dire Hit Plus, because I don't want to actually use a move with Bruno until after the sync move. And okay, we have everything maxed. I'm going to go ahead and just go for this. Why not? They're not targeting the right opponent or ally. Oops. Didn't think about that, but oh well. They're not doing much damage as it is, so I'm not worried about it. Alright. There we go. Got our sync move in. Glacia here is definitely not like a super difficult opponent, just because she's not really this. Oh my god. That was with the super effective next, keep that in mind. She's not the strongest opponent, but she does, she's part of the Hoenn Elite Four, and Hoenn Elite Four is pretty tough. Oh my gosh. Okay. Got crit. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes, right? You can go ahead and potion up there, though, so we can be good there. And we can now hope that we can survive these AoE blizzards, because those actually do probably hit a little bit hard, right? Jesus. Okay. They're doing quite a lot of damage here. I don't think this sync move is going to do too much. We do have Crit Strike too, of course, for, lucky skills, passives, and in our grid. So this actually could kill. Okay, it does, which is good. And then here we go, finish him off with another cross chop. Great fighting striker, right? Very, very solid on the fighting damage. Pretty easy to use, of course, and all that good stuff, right? So he's very, very strong against fighting weak opponents. I would probably advise against trying him off-type, because even though he does have Crit Strike 2 in the grid here and, passive skills and lucky skills, it's still not probably going to be enough to, really put a dent in any opponent for the most part. We'll try him against Sydney here, see how he's able to do. If he does well, then great. If he doesn't do well, then, I kind of expected that much. He's a 4-star unit. I generally don't expect these units to be able to do super great, against off-type opponents, right? Let me actually make sure Sydney doesn't have any crazy stuff here that can ruin our run. Let me actually go ahead and queue some stuff up first there. Looking at Sydney here for the Flying Weak, he actually does do a lot of damage. That is one problem. But no, he looks like he's going to be fine. Sydney looks like he's going to be a fine opponent to fight. We should be good. Let's go ahead and go for this. Go for some attack buffs as well, and there we go. Okay, and then we can instantly start attacking if we need to. Are you serious? Okay, that's fair. Super effective next, of course, isn't going to do anything for us. We don't need it. Got the potion up again. Actually, no, I didn't need to. That was kind of a waste. Oh well, it happens. Let's go ahead and sync with Cynthia here. Get some off-type damage in here and see how we do. May want to queue up that Buddy Aura Sphere as well. Want to try and get a quad Q in here just so we can guarantee ourselves. Okay, so we can get ourselves a sync move in here afterwards. What is this doing? 5,000 damage, that's not bad, but definitely is not going to do nearly enough, right? The physical moves next here from Cynthia may help a lot, though. So we'll have to see about that. So how much? Okay. I mean, 6,000 damage with the physical moves up next. Can't really complain too much, right? But it's still not the greatest. So yeah, off-type isn't doing too great. Maybe able to change up parameters a little bit, but still, I wouldn't count on this being too amazing. Sync move here, of course. Double down wouldn't have helped us at all here, since that's for super effective multipliers. 10,000 damage sync move, not bad, but we were not able to take out Sydney here pre-sync. Okay, we didn't survive. Sydney hits hard, so I'm not surprised that we didn't survive there. But yeah. We did have max defenses, though, so the fact that we didn't survive is honestly kind of crazy to me, but oh well, it happens, right? It happens. So, you have Head Start 1, right? Okay. Hold on. Let me actually, with Head Start 1, doesn't that count for Mega Lucario as well? I think it does. Okay, let's change to Bruno's Sync Nuke grid here. I want to see what is able to put up on the Sync Nuke. Of course, we're going to use this Support EX first, and then we'll sync with Bruno just to make it look a little bit better. But of course, we could have just started out with the same move as well, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Okay. This is going to be very, very similar to the DPS showcase as well, just because Bruno's DPS does not change for the most part. So keep that in mind. Just go for a hoo-ha, why not? Okay. And we're going to be able to unlock the buddy move here, which is going to be nice for sure. Going to go ahead and start whittling down the sides here. Might as well. And there we go. We missed the side there, but that's fine. Okay. And we got the buddy Aura Sphere. Did that actually? No, okay. The Head Start 1 did not activate, which is unfortunate. I figured that, like, Head Start 1 would probably activate after, you know, you Mega, right? I would have thought so, but I could, you know, clearly I'm wrong. But oh well, it happens. Our accuracy's so bad. Why is the accuracy so bad? Okay, well, I know why, but come on. It doesn't have to be that bad, Jesus. But there's a 13,000 damage move there. That's nice. And let's go ahead and use the nuke and just see how we do. So how much is this nuke doing? Double down, 5. Total in multipliers, it's about 160%, I believe. 29,000, that's pretty good. I mean, that tends to be a pretty solid number of damage, right? Yeah, I'd say Bruno's pretty solid. I'm not going to take him to a Legendary Arena or anything. If you want to use Bruno in a Legendary Arena, go for it. He's not a bad option for sure, but this is actually pretty solid for him. You know, bring Champion Hop with you, and Bruno's definitely going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. Obviously, that sync move I was only able to get up with Fighting Zone just because we had the infinite fighting, or the infinite field effects parameters here, so infinite Fighting Zone. So keep all of this in mind, right? I am kind of juicing him up a little bit. Signature Aura Cynthia is a great partner for him because of Fighting Zone, only if she's in the infinite field effects, though. But do consider as well that her trainer move is able to max special defense, and then I brought just an attack support. Also, Lieutenant Surge shares 2 link skills with him, or theme skills. Sorry, played Dokkan too much. So he shares Kanto and Bodybuilder, I believe. I think that's what they share, right? Yeah, they share Bodybuilder, and of course, Cynthia and Bruno share Fighting, so there are some extra theme skills activated there as well, so this was one of Bruno's more powered up showcases, so to speak, right? We could also bring Red here. You know, he buffs attack himself with his max move, I think Max Knuckle? I think he can buff attack with Max Knuckle. Or does he, let's see. Group Moral Support, he raises special defense. Okay, so he's actually also a great partner because he's able to max or buff special defense as well, so that's good. And yeah, he's got Max Knuckle here to Max Knuckle to raise attack of all allies. We'll go ahead and use this setup. Of course, in this setup, you could replace Cynthia with Neo Champion Hop and then use Red as the tank. I'm just not because I don't need to. So let's go ahead and see what we're able to put up here. I'm going to go ahead and use Max Knuckle because I'm not going to be using Max Replenish because I don't need to. So let's see what we're able to do here. I'll go ahead and use the Sync Nuke first as well in this setup. We need to use Hoo-Ha one more time to max our attack. And we'll go ahead and use this. Get some attack buffs in there. Or some crit buffs, I mean. And we could also debuff defenses if we wanted, but it's Glacia, so I'm not going to. I'm good. I'll go for the Rock Smash anyway, but Glacia is not the easiest opponent to debuff defenses on, because she has, you know, Sentry Entry 3. Not times 3, just plus 3, so which is not great, because, you know, plus 3 on her defenses. But you could, of course, maybe snatch him or something. Okay, we didn't crit. We didn't crit on his move. Oh, well, that happens. Let's try that again, shall we? Yes, I would like to restart the battle. Damn, is my internet going out? Nope. Yes, it is. Never mind. Okay, it's back. Okay, whatever. Hey, sure. Okay. Now let's try that again, shall we? Okay, now let's go for the max knuckle here. I'm going to go and use Bruno's sync move to start out with here, and we can see just how much damage he can do, you know, off the rip. Let's go ahead and go for a vacuum wave here. And let's use this max knuckle here to buff, or his turn move here to give ourselves some super effective next and crit buffs. Okay, there we go. Of course, the super preparation did not activate, which is just fine, of course. Let's go ahead and just use this, and then I guess a mini potion all, why not? And then we'll sync with Bruno again. And hope he actually crits, right? Because he has max crit, so there shouldn't be any reason for him to not crit. So how much is it going to put up? Super effective next, again, as previously stated. 20,000 damage, that's pretty good, right, of course. But of course, you know, super effective damage tends to be pretty good anyway. But again, I'm not looking for good off-typers here. This is just my opinion, but I don't tend to try and look for good off-typers in these 3- and 4-star units. Can it happen? Sure, yeah. Units like Agatha, I think, could honestly be pretty viable when it comes to off-typing, right? Just because they tend to hit so hard anyway with all of their multipliers and whatnot. Agatha's got, like, Brain Teaser, just Brain Teaser, I honestly forget everything she gets. She gets a lot, right? She gets a lot of stuff, and she's got, you know, the potential Tech EX once she gets her EX, right? That could be very, very strong for her. So, could Agatha turn into a great, you know, nuker or just damage dealer as a 4-star unit? Sure. But I tend to see that as more of an outlier, if anything, right? That's just my personal opinion, though. If you think differently, then, you know, of course, you're obviously entitled to your opinions. Alright, so here's some physical moves up next. Might as well look at this sync nuke here. Also, that was 20,000 damage, I believe, without having super effective next or anything like that. So, yeah. 12,000 damage, normal, plus 2 physical moves up next. That's pretty solid, right? Tends to be. He just tends to hit pretty hard anyway, even with his super effective next in his passive, so, you know, or in his grid, so you can definitely make use of that as well. I was, of course, going on the sync nuke grid here as well. But anyway, yeah. I think Bruno's aged pretty well for his grid expansion, right? The only stages he cannot fight would be, you know, Sentry Entry ×2 stages and stuff like that, which there's definitely fighting characters that can hit through it. Bruno could probably hit through it as well, but he would need a little bit more help, or quite a bit more help, realistically. Like, he would need defense debuffs, so someone like Neo Champion Hop would really just have to be someone you would bring in order to actually do everything you need to, right? But yeah, Bruno overall, against pretty much every fighting type stage in the game that's not like a regional boost or something like that, he's going to be solid, right? He's going to be doing the great damage, and you're not going to be too disappointed with what he can do, right? But yeah, I digress. I'm going to end the video there, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think about Bruno's grid expansion that he got about a year and a half ago, and yeah, I'll see you all later.